I am at my happiest when I'm doing silly little things and showing them to my silly little guys. Who are my silly little guys? The Coven, or what I call this group of friends that I made back when we were all in school at the academy. We all studied art together, and even though we've all kind of gone our separate ways across the nation, we still keep in touch pretty regularly via Discord, where we'll send each other epistles, go on weekly quests. We play D&D or other tabletop role-playing games. It's been a really great way to stay in touch. We've started celebrating these kind of made-up traditions that, for example, our oldest running one is Simpsgiving, which you can kind of guess what that is. It's basically the Hear Me Out cake, but we were doing it like 5 years ago. Another one that we started doing is the Wanquet. Wanquet doesn't mean whatever you're thinking. It stands for Wizard Banquet. Wizard Banquet! This is kind of our chance to come together and share knowledge that we've acquired over the past year, right? So we'll get together for an evening, get on a voice call, and we'll toast potions, share photos of our familiars, ponder some orbs, you know, the like, and then we'll usually share with each other something new that we've learned. Last year, I did a demonstration where I taught people how to paint living pictures, which was basically a digital speed paint study. But this year, I kind of really want to go another direction and start getting into the hobbies and the things that really bring me joy. I've already been doing this a lot over the past year. I'll frequently try some random thing when I have an odd couple minutes to spare, and I'll take a photo and send it to my friends. But the Wanquet, you know, it's grand. It really deserves more. And so for the Wanquet, I don't want to just be like, hey, did you know you could dehydrate strawberries? Like, yeah, okay, we've all seen it on Pinterest, we know. This grand Wanquet requires something new, something groundbreaking. No, I shall not show them just one silly little thing. I shall show them many silly little things. An exposition of silly little things. So what will this exposition entail? This grimoire has recently caught my eye, and it's filled with strange and forgotten art. Some that would make polite society shrink in fear. It is an advanced tome, and I cannot hope to attempt all the knowledge that is held within these pages. But for the upcoming Wanquet, I would like to accomplish 3 of the tasks outlined by the venerable archmage and mage Knudsen and Coin. Where was such a tome obtained? Well, that would bring us to today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is your local library. If you need reads, seeds, or just a place to be, go to your local library. It's where a community is happening. All the knowledge is free. It's every wizard's best friend. Here's the plan. I want to do some herb infusions, I want to make some sauerkraut, and I want to start my first ever garden. The reason I want to do those main projects is because I think they'll really exemplify what it means to be a wizard. To start growing your own self-sufficiency with a little garden, as well as rounding out your potion cabinet. I really think that these projects are going to impress the Coven, so I'm looking forward to making this video and showing them what I can do in the amount of time I have. Yeah, there are also some smaller projects that have caught my eye, so if I have time for them, I'm going to try and do some other things along the way. We'll see. Another limitation I'm putting on myself is to be as affordable and sustainable as possible. So if I have to buy anything, I want to buy it secondhand, and otherwise try and use things that I have around the house. It takes a real wizard to do the radical and sustainable thing, even when it would be more convenient to do otherwise. Now that we have the parameters set, let's do it. So I'm on my way to buy some herbs to tincture. This local grocery store usually has rosemary, dill, chamomile. I'll see what they have, and I'm gonna buy a couple to experiment with. Got the stuff. I started out by washing and drying the herbs really well, but then I ran into a problem. I'm not really sure what to do with these. Could be fun to braid it. Maybe I'll do that. I don't really know how to braid. I hung up all the herbs. The part I'm most excited about with this isn't whatever tinctures I'm gonna make. I don't know what the purpose of those are really. Half of the fun is just like when I'm going to do laundry, which is a boring task I have to do all the time. Like the laundry never ends. But now when I open like these doors, it's just like a tiny little hit of dopamine. These lemongrass knots are really cute. I feel kind of like a apothecary or like a witch or something, so that's fun. Replenished, I was ready to start my garden. I think something that's kind of frustrating as a novice gardener is that it takes faith to grow a seed, and I keep waiting for these books to be like, and here's what you do to make sure that happens, and it's always just like, you put it in the ground and water it. And I'm like, and then what? I guess this heathen is going to have to learn faith here. So it took some time to decide what I'm gonna put in each pot and then label it. I'm gonna put the dirt on top and then plant them. Okay, I kind of cleaned up the porch area and I just wanted to show you guys now. So I have this little thing for them all to sit on and they're all labeled as close to the sun as I possibly can, hopeful that things will grow. Okay, it's the next day and I also need to start the sauerkraut project, which I'm really excited for. I'm excited to try like an actual fermentation technique. I'm gonna try 2 different sauerkrauts, one with purple cabbage and one with regular green cabbage.
But first, this wizard had to accomplish a side quest, a smoothie side
This
quest.
probably would have been faster if I had squeezed the oranges instead of just blending them
Which,
whole.
in If You Give a Mouse a Cookie type fashion, led to a smoothie pulp bread side quest, as well as a candied orange peel side quest.
This is really good.
Am I forgetting something? Oh yeah, sauerkraut. Here I'm mixing the cabbage with salt in order to make a brine and preserve it, and then mashing it down into the jars.
Okay, I'm kind of wrapping up the sauerkraut thing, but I just feel the need to put in a warning. Probably don't do it this way because I don't have the right equipment. I tried my best to make sure I sanitized everything, but I could see that there's opportunity for bacteria to be introduced. And so I'm gonna just press forward and taste it cautiously as I go ahead, but
After I had done all the initial work to set up all these projects, my typical day would look like this. I would go to do yet another load of laundry, but then my soul would be soothed as I saw the floating herbs gently swaying above me. Sometimes I would catch a glimpse of my sauerkraut project in the corner, and I would quickly avert my gaze, afraid to witness the eldritch horror that was beginning to be birthed there, and I would run away. Okay, let's just look at the garden. That ought to cheer me up. Yeah, the pots look great. The dirt looks good. I'm watering it. Am I doing this right? At this point, it was time to reassess and move on to the next phase of some projects. First, I wanted to get back into the sauerkraut game. I was kind of too afraid to deal with the consequences of my improper handling actions, but I decided to try another batch that would hopefully have enough time to ferment between now and the Wanquet.
okay, I'm working on the next iteration of the sauerkraut, but side note, I'm just so happy I found this at the thrift store. It was like really ugly and like poorly painted and stuff, but today I was like, well, this is kind of the only thing that's the right size. So I cleaned it off, the paint came off super easy, and it's like really cute.
After I packed everything into the new dish, I covered it with a couple of clean cabbage leaves as well as a sanitized dish that perfectly fit the inside of the jar. Here's hoping this iteration won't haunt me. Once I had finished preparing Sauerkraut 2.0, I turned my attention to the first batch of infusions. The herbs had been drying for a couple of weeks, and it was time to start adding in the liquid.
Okay, in If You Give a Mouse a Cookie-esque fashion once again, realized I didn't have enough glasses, so I scrounged up enough glasses, but some of them don't have lids, so now I'm working on making lids out of Sculpey. So that's what I'm doing right now. Is that what I should be doing? No. Is it what I'm doing? Yes. And I'm going to try and finish this and then get back on task with the things that are actually important to do.
For this batch of infusions, I only used olive oil and vinegar. What you just saw a second ago was a thyme olive oil, followed by a rose petal olive oil, and then a dill vinegar.
Salad check.
I had to hot glue some of the lids shut, but here it is all complete. At this point, I was approaching Wanquet Eve, and it was time to do the water infusions. No, don't look over there. Don't look over there. Don't. With the water infusions, it's as easy as pouring hot, boiling water over dried herbs. These ones are chamomile, rosemary, and lemongrass. It's time to check on the new sauerkraut, and it's... okay?
So you can see that there's mold in here. However, I believe because it's floating on the top of the brine, you're able to scoop it out and it's not actually damaging the cabbage beneath. So I'm gonna do my sauerkraut chore of fishing out all of this mold. Salad check.
I wonder if anything's grown in the garden.
I'm so excited. They're finally here. I didn't look at them for like 3 days, but they came out. Yay! So now that the garden is actually starting to grow, I kind of realized that I need a watering can because when I just pour water from a cup, it totally wrecks the sprouts. So I wanted to get a watering can, but remember, as a wizard, I don't really want to be buying things I don't really need. I was trying to figure out what can I repurpose. A milk jug will probably work just fine, so I'm gonna try and turn this into like a watering can. But it seems to be working all right, at least for while I keep my eye out for a good watering can.
With all my main quests nearing completion, it was time to deal with the consequences of my actions.
Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today to mourn the loss of Sauerkraut 1.0. They were doomed from the start, but we love them well.
Don't throw me away. I've just been birthed. I'm becoming something new, something elevated. I can create more mold spores and destroy more vegetables yet. I have so much potential. Ah! Wait, no! With that, it was the day of the Wanquet and time to get ready. It was a little early for the fermentation, but the second batch was great and not poisoned. The garden was coming along well, and as evening approached, I had an idea to use some of these herb infusions as part of my getting ready routine. With candles lit and the mood set, I started to strain the herbs, and I put them into bowls and vials that I could use in the shower. I used a combination of dill vinegar and rosemary water as a deep shampoo rinse, and I used rose olive oil as an all-over body conditioner. Finally, this is some rosemary water that I used as a leave-in hair rinse, and then I did some more olive oil on my face. Now, all that was left was to become the Wiz Andulius. Can't forget the wizard hat. And it's time for the reveal.
You like my chisel hat? It's very tall. Aww. These last couple weeks have been so much fun. I completed 3 main quests. I also did like 5 side quests. Starting with the herbs, even when you're waiting for the herbs to dry, it's a little something that kind of adds a little spark of joy to your day. In addition to that, when I actually use them, a hair routine and a skin routine, I was surprised how good it felt. So the rosemary water smelled amazing. Using the olive oil to sort of exfoliate and then also condition my skin felt really good. I thought, I was like, it's probably gonna be kind of gross and greasy, but actually it felt really luxurious. It smelled nice. I mean, olive oil has a nice smell. The rose didn't really come through, to be honest. I think it needed more time, but more than anything, I'm just glad it wasn't like spoiled. The vinegar one, no notes yet. I think it did help get extra dirt out of my hair. All in all, I really like it, and the idea of using cheap household items to replace a really extensive beauty routine is, I think, a really wizardy thing to do, you know? I also worked on sauerkraut, so my first attempt, unfortunately, didn't work, but the second attempt, it looked right the entire time. Even though some molds started popping up, it was like the normal kind. Playing fast and loose with fermentation, don't recommend it. Don't be like me, just...
But if you do it right,
it's good. Finally, the garden. I've never really had much luck keeping plants alive, and I mean, it remains to be seen if my garden's gonna be fruitful, if I'm gonna get any vegetables from it, but seeing the sprouts come up was amazing. It's such a good experience to see something grow, living things just flourish with just a couple of the right ingredients, you know? All I did was provide you a space and water and trying to give you sunlight, and you did it all on your own. It's really a beautiful thing, honestly. So my experience using the book, I love the way it's written. It's pretty to the point, but it still has some lovely prose and just little snippets that kind of make you excited to try them. It doesn't have a lot of pictures. I could see how that might not be super user-friendly for some people. So if you're someone who really needs like visual step-by-step guides, I don't know if this book is for you. Of course, I'm gonna have to return this one to the library and check it out later because I'm coming up on due pretty soon. So I definitely recommend the book if you want to try any of the things that I did in this video. Finally, I just wanted to talk about the experience of the Wanquet in general and of putting this effort in to make this video for my friends. Ever since I graduated from my program, I felt pretty moreless. I've had some luck getting illustration jobs. Things have been going fine. I was just really struggling and it was making me really miserable. I realized that the things that I love doing are when I try something new in the kitchen, do an experiment, tell my friends about it. The coven means everything to me, honestly. If it weren't for them, I think I'd be much lonelier. I jumped headfirst into this video. I just fell in love with the process so much because to me it means I have a way to show my friends how much I love them. The coven, this is for you. I'm hopeful to make more videos in the future. Thank you. Man, I've never felt more awkward in my life. That was kind of expensive. Only really makes sense if you have an herb garden. Teach me your secrets. I'm going to use this in place of the orange juice and the sugar. And personally, I think, what am I trying to say here? Oh, broke my chopstick.